You're up, Richie Rich. Alright, so another suspect on my suspects list. Richard Hart, aka Richard Schuler, the queen of cryptocurrency. Because look at him. Again, dude, you look like a clown. Just wondering if you guys are noticing anything from this photo. Look closer, pick it apart. Have you noticed down here? I've already discussed this in previous videos. It's a lion with a serpent tail and or fish tail, serpent fish. Let's see. What does that remind me of? Oh yes, Yaldabaoth. Here it is. There's one depiction. There's another depiction down here. This one has wings. This is synonymous with Yaldabaoth is basically Canubis and Abraxas, Shiva, Loki, Kronos, so on and so forth. Same thing. Supposedly a demiurge creator deity that supposedly made the material world and supposedly rules over it. And so I think that these dudes, these people who are in this cult, try to appease this deity in a number of ways to get goodies for themselves. They think it'll, give them blessings or whatever. Make note of some stuff. Here you can see the Yaldabaoth is being depicted as eating his own tail, devouring his own tail. That's called an Ouroboros, snake eating its own tail. Up top, I'm going to go over some of that in a bit. That's more that I added to this entire PDF, but it's above this. So I'll scroll up in a little bit. Also make note of the Saturn, planet Saturn, behind his head. That's interesting. Hey, did you guys know? Oh, also make note of things like he's sticking his finger in the pocket slit that's pink. Make note of the outer part of his jacket collar is pink, and the inner part is gray. And when it's folded over, as quite often you will do with a jacket collar, and I'd say more often than not, my jacket collars are folded over. So when it's folded over, you have the gray over the pink. Here you also have like the green up top above the pink here. And his thumb or finger, his thumb, so fingers and thumbs are quite often used to suggest a phallus, all right, to symbolize a phallus. If you don't realize that, have you ever flipped anyone the bird? Given them the middle finger? Yeah. So his thumb is slipped into the little pink slit pocket there. Again, you look like a total freaking, you look like you should be in the circus. Ugh. Do people just laugh at you when you walk down the streets? Because I would. I don't care how coveted the name brand is. It's gross looking. So, and I'm sure there are lots of other statues and lampposts and stuff with lots of other carvings and things on it. He chose to have a picture taken of himself next to the lion-headed serpent, like Yaldabaoth. Again, remember what I've said in previous videos about this PDF, breaking down the popular characters for their color coding. Quite often it's red and purple and or pink over top of the blue, green, gray color. But these people in this cult seem to flip that. They flip it on its head, like the natural order. Again, let's go back to Saturn. We see planet Saturn behind Yaldabaoth's head there. Oh, and of course, there's an upward pointing triangle, the phallic symbol, and it's being put above a sun. Now, the Sea of Light can also be considered to be the true sun. So the mother of light, the Sea of Light, would be considered to be the true sun, the true light, the light of life. Whereas her fallen sun, S-O-N-N-S-U-N, as in like the sun we see in the sky, would be like her fallen sun. One of her lights that compressed itself down, put itself under a lot of pressure, created a void within which our, the material world exists. So, here we go. This is a little clip of the picture of the Frank family that I have above this one in PDF. This is Mariel, Zay Frank's sister, and her husband, Tom Murphy. In that picture, if you pay attention, if you're looking closer and you're analyzing, see? She's got her fingers wrapped around his finger. So again, that's another thing to suggest that picture of them, that family photo, is capturing what was likely a rape ritual, and I think something that likely was done to that little girl. So this is suggestive of penetration. Lots of other ways they could have been holding each other's hands. Back to Saturn. Here is a logo for Richard Hart. For those of you who don't know, Richard Hart, aka Richard Schuller, is a big name in cryptocurrency. He has been dragging it out and promising to release a cryptocurrency network called Pulsechain and a crypto called Pulsechain. He's been leading people on for like 2 years now, and still is being a little puss about releasing it because he's a clown and a scammer. In fact, he was called the Spam King because he first got into trouble for spamming people through the mail. Is what I've read in a lot of articles written about him. Did you guys know? So here's a picture of Saturn. See that? See that on the top there? This is well known for people who look into things like this. Saturn actually has a hexagon on the pole. Here's another depiction of another image of it. It even has some of the same coloring. Note the coloring here. Blue over the purple, red, and pink. Here's the Pulsechain. So this one's for Pulsechain. That's the logo for Pulsechain. Here's the logo for Pulsechain. Got the green over top of the red. Overlaying the red. This is not nearly everything that I have researched and written up about him. There should be more published in my blog, Celebrity Reigns List. I've started putting the link for that in my in the descriptions of these videos. So go find the post that I put in there about Richard Hart. There's a lot more information, and there's still way more that's just in my head that I haven't even gotten around to writing down. But again, this is supposed to be kind of a short little PDF, shareable PDF that kind of has a lot of the basics. Here we go. More green over red, the blue, green, gray over red. And here we go. Oh, he's wearing that white blouse with the black polka dots, like Mindy McCready in Kick-Ass. I showed you that picture before in another video. It's in this PDF. And he's got the pink from his HEX logo over top of it. So pink over that black and white. So here he's got sort of this idea of pink over gray, possibly, or a really polarized gray, I guess, is the black and the white. But again, the white with the black spots, black polka dots, typically is meant to symbolize that white sea of light that's supposed to be like the oversoul, made up of all souls, the light of life. And it's a light, a big light made up of smaller lights. But when those lights are extinguished, the little lights are extinguished, you're going to have these black holes. Remember Carcosa with the black stars. So this is a trend I see them I see it on them a lot. The white with the black spots that they wear and pink over top of it. And then flipping the green, blue, green, gray over top of the red and the pink. So it's like, what are you guys doing exactly? And it's quite possible, something I've considered, is that they might be wearing these outfits, different outfits on different days. Whether you guys know it or not, different days of the week are kind of dedicated to different deities and different sort of energies. Like Thursday is Thor's day. Wednesday is considered to be Odin's day. Saturday is Saturn's day. Monday, Moon day. All right? So different days might necessitate, at least to these people, wearing different color combinations. That's something I'm considering. I mean, and again, so if you guys think that, oh, that sounds cray-cray, well, plenty of you are Christians, and you don't believe in doing any kind of work or anything on Sundays. People who are Jewish don't believe in doing any kind of work or anything on Saturdays. You know, like, lots of ways you guys will curb yourselves and go out of your way to do something or not do something on specific days. So I don't want to hear the nonsense. Like, why do you think that they're not going to go out of their way to wear a certain kind of color combination in their outfits on specific days? Of course they will. So something to consider. Oh, and have you guys ever heard of Saturnalia? Have you ever heard of Saturn worshiping cults and how there's a lot of child abuse connected with Saturn worshiping cults that I've read about. Lots and lots. Child sacrifice, child abuse, out the wazoo. So, yeah. Also, Saturn supposedly gives off a very eerie, not supposedly, I've heard it. NASA has recordings of this kind of eerie sound or vibration frequency that Saturn gives off. And some people think that Saturn is the one that sort of creates the material world. Look into that a bit more. I might do a bit of writing on that. I think I did a bit of writing on that in the blog. I don't know if I'm going to include it in this PDF. We'll see. So, to show you some more on the Ouroboros, let's go up here where I've added some more. You suck, Richard. Release the mainnet already, you little puss. Stop being such a little coward. It's because they know. They should know by now that I invested, actually. I got in pretty early on in his cryptocurrency, in his crypto network. So when it's launched, I'm going to be able to cash out for a good chunk of change. And then I really will be able to just sit and focus on this and not have to worry about eating, how I'm going to pay for my food and my rent and all that. And they really don't want that. They don't want me to be financially independent. It makes them shit themselves, I'm sure, because then it's like, oh, there's nothing stopping her from really digging in and getting the research done and getting the writing done, and then we're all cooked. So he's being a little puss, and he's stretching out the release of the network. He was making it seem, he was getting everyone all excited last May, making people think that he was going to release it in mid-May. Everyone was like frothing at the mouth, excited. Everyone in that community, it's a big community, and even though you could technically consider him to be like in the financial branch of this cult, he's every bit the social media influencer. In fact, they have said, many people who are critics of him have said that most of his success comes from social media influence, not from his financial or prowess or his ability to crunch numbers, which seems like that's his only ability, is crunching numbers. He doesn't seem to have that stuff called wisdom. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had some chick in a bathing suit jiggling her tits at the camera. Freaking moron. So let's go up here. loser. Here's the picture again. So you see there Mariel and her husband Tom making that little gesture. And again, they've got the flipping. It's gray over pink rather than pink over gray. And I could show you guys so many pictures. Like, what mother? Again, who does that? Where they put a beautiful, pretty little pink flowery skirt on their daughter, and then on top they've just put like a gray t-shirt. Nobody. I guess Jody Brandt does. Gray, like how these mothers are wearing the gray, silvery gray now. What did you guys do to her? And by the way, if you guys go look at this picture on Joaquin Frank's Nobel Prize page, that little girl looks like lost in the face. You know, her face just looks like she's dazed and confused. Like she's wondering what the fuck just happened to her. So, let's go back up here to I added in some stuff about Ouroboros. Here's sort of like a Jewish Kabbalist depiction of the Ouroboros. Note the Knights Templar cross that's under his beard there. Note that the beard is in 3 sections. Like, every bit of this image is significant, okay? Note that it's also suggesting this opposite parallel universe. It's like parallel to the one we are accustomed to living in, that we perceive around us, but sort of the opposite of it. And around it is that snake eating its own tail. That's called the Ouroboros. Here we go. So here I put in, so you can see here I was talking about the white sky with the black stars often being envisioned as a hermaphroditic deity, and that the phallus is meant to represent the material world, and this is her fallen son sucking his own dong. How it's often represented as a hyena, a female hyena with a mock phallus. Now here are some of the Jewish magical incantation bowls. Again, make note of the downward pointing triangle, which is symbolic of the female genitalia, and you've got the black spots in it up top, on top of the head there. Make note of the stripes and this idea of chains. Our DNA is like a chain, and it goes from the neck around to the ankles here. We see this also. Oh, we've got the spots here. Looks like another female. And all around the outside is white with black spots. I have more down here. That's the flower of life again. Here we go. We have sort of a younger looking female here. And they have ears kind of like fairies or elves, like the fae people. And this looks like an older woman here. They're chained at the neck and the feet. Note she's missing an eye. Again, this suggests the mother of light, a sea of light made up of lots of little lights, like an oversoul made up of lots of smaller little souls. One of them decided to break away from Mama and compress himself down and become the sun in the sky that we see. Okay? It's basically a big exploding dick in the sky. So that means she lost an eye. Remember, those little lights are also seen. Those little lights. So there we go. The big light, a sea of light made up of lots of little lights. A big flower made up of lots of little flowers. These little lights are often, sometimes they're called eyes. So she's missing an eye because one decided to secede and fall, her fallen son. Which opened up a void in her, like the void of space, and he became a sun. He compressed himself down. The sun, for those of you who don't know, is not a burning ball of gas. It's more of an exploding, it's a bunch of hydrogen atoms that are under so much pressure that they are undergoing nuclear explosions all the time. So it's just exploding all the time. That's what's going on up there with the sun, all right? It's not a ball of gas that's on fire so much as a pressurized ball of molecules that are exploding, having, atomic explosions, nuclear explosions constantly. So this idea of the young girl is chained to the older woman. The woman is the sea of light, the mother of light, and I've often seen it suggested that girls, women down here in the physical realm, that we have a bit of that light in us. Each of us is like one of the little lights that makes up the bigger light. I believe that this cult, they're endeavoring to extinguish those lights, basically to abuse women and young girls until their soul is basically cut off, so they don't have a soul anymore. They're trying to kill the soul. Note the circle that seems to have like scales that's surrounding them, enveloping these two. That's another representation of the mother, the sea of light, the serpent. It's called an Ouroboros. Here's a bunch of depictions of it. Sometimes it'll be seen as a dragon eating its own tail. Sometimes it'll be seen as like the dragon's on the top and the serpent's on the bottom. Like the serpent will make up the lower half of the circle, and it'll be eating at the tail of the dragon, which makes up the upper half of the circle, and the dragon will be eating at the tail of the serpent. I've seen it depicted that way as well. The Ouroboros is a Greek word meaning tail devourer, and is one of the oldest mystical symbols in the world. Foremost is the symbolism of the serpent biting, devouring, or eating its own tail. The Ouroboros eats its own tail to sustain its life in an eternal cycle of renewal. Now, you could say that, here we go, see? Eating his own dong. Now, a man's phallus in many ways represents his children. So it's like he's eating his own children. Again, this is Kronos. This is the cautionary tale of Kronos from Greek myth. He ate his own children in order to keep himself. Oh, get over here! Sorry. Asshole. No, that's his. My neighbor's dog started trying to chase the cats into my place. Ooh. So, anyway, this dude's eating his own dong. And a tail, it represents that as well. The tail in a lot of ways will represent the male phallus, the genitals, and the genitals quite often will represent the children. So that's something else I have to add down to Richie Rich's part. Down here, because etymologically, there's a lot of connection between he and his little cryptocurrency projects and Kronos, the Greek deity Kronos. I do believe that that's in the write-up in the blog, the post that I put out about Richard Hart. Where I make connections between he and his cryptocurrency projects and Kronos, who ate his own children. So, are we seeing how this all connects and comes together, guys? All right, I'm going to leave it there. Richie Rich, stop being a little bitch boy and release the mainnet. Seriously, testnet v4? How much more pathetic can you get? Let's see how much more pathetic Richie Rich can get. Oh,